That means they have to use beads in order to counter his ult. It's the only thing that they'll have. I'm gonna ulti the ant her right here. Pop my 2 for a little bit of extra damage and their crit chance. We'll be able to grab that kill. I'm pretty sure Bacchus actually flopped into me when he started this off. So I'm gonna land my ring toss on him and then hopefully sash to finish this right on up. Hello everybody, we are here with your Nezha jungle guide. So we're gonna be getting ourselves a nice little Obumba's dagger, and I'm also gonna be starting myself off with a tier 1 mace, a couple of potions, and a hand of the gods. Nezha does have quite a bit of level 1 gank potential, so we are going to be utilizing that to go get some pressure on mid. Both Sash and Universe Ring Toss are going to be very good early abilities. Plus, he also has super good early game jungle clear. So Nezha right now, he doesn't get picked a lot, but not because it's bad, just because like he's probably in a balanced spot right now. And when you're balanced, you don't necessarily get played, which is just kind of a funny thing because everybody wants to play the OP characters. But he's actually in a pretty good spot right now. He's got a kit that's not bad in the current meta. He's got the early game clear because of the ring toss. He also has the AoE auto attack, which we're going to start off with right here. All of these things put him in a pretty good spot as a jungler right now. And he also recently got changed fairly recently, where his 2 was going to give him that more healing as he builds more damage, so he doesn't really get played kind of as like a support anymore. He really does lean into that damage role. Now it looks like my Ow Poosh is somehow out clearing a Thoth. I don't really know what that means, but I'm just gonna go ahead and start up these camps instead because of that. Don't super understand how that's even possible, but you don't have to know how it's possible to do it. So at level 2, we're gonna grab our Sash, which is gonna be our main form of PvP initiation. Gonna pop me a health potion right here as well. There is 1 creep left alive, which is pretty convenient, so I can just kind of ring toss out this creep. But I'm gonna have to go back and just farm probably a little bit of jungle after this next wave, because they do have a much better level 2 fight than us. Suki Thoth has a very scary level 2 fight. Ow Poosh, Nezha, not quite as scary. Nezha does have a good level 2 fight, but Ow Poosh does not really have much of a fight at all, and Thoth is going to have that big ranged advantage on us as well. So with Nezha on our leveling, we're going to be grabbing our ultimate whenever we can. So we're going to level up that ulti whenever we get an opportunity to grab that extra damage. Then we're going to rank up our 1 because this is going to give us more bounces, which is really going to up the damage of this ability. I'm going to go see if I can't get a little gank off in the right lane. Their solo laner is actually a Kali, which means that there is an opportunity here for an early kill, but he is also underneath his tower, so maybe not. A lot of underneath the towers right now, so not a lot of gank potential when they're that far back this early. After our ulti, rank up our ring toss. After our ring toss, we are going to max out our 2, and then finally our 3. We rank up that 2 because that's going to increase all of the stats that it gives us. I'm waiting right here for him to kind of jump before I go for my Sash, but he gets to jump too far into the tower right there for any potential follow-up. Reason why I rank up the Sash last is the Sash only gives you plus 50 damage every time you rank it up. Everything else has multiple facets of the ability that it'll be ranking up. So that is 4, 1, 2, 3 on the Nezha. But make sure you get that Sash at level 2, and then at level 4, we grab our second ability. So your goal with the second ability is related to your stacks. So whenever you're doing damage, basically, you're going to get these stacks. These stacks are going to give you critical, they're going to give you movement speed. These stacks are going to give you, what, 20 stacks? And these are going to give you a bunch of movement speeds per stack, which is fantastic. And then you've got your 2 as well, which is also going to interact with it, because upon activation of your 2, you gain all of these stats, and one of these stats is a nice heal that is going to be better as you get more damage, which is very nice. So we're going to back up. We are going to get ourselves a full warrior tabi. You can also actually go the ninja tabi on the Neja if you want to. I'm going to be embracing a little bit more of a power build here, compared of a like auto attacky crit heavy build. There is the ability to go a little bit more into the attack speed, maybe even grab like a rage to get that crit chance really high. But I'm going to embrace a little bit more of a power bursty build here, which will still have some crit, and that's how we're going to get a lot of our damage off. Really going to maximize the utilization of our ultimate. So I'm going to look at Thoth right now. I'm going to try to hit him with the sash. I'm not going to follow up with the ulti because I think he is going to beads, and he does. He follows up immediately with the beads until I don't ulti, because I thought he was going to do that, and now I didn't waste my ultimate. So standardly on Neja, your combination is going to be sash right into your ulti to set up your team. So it's just going to be 3 right into your 4. Unless, of course, like that last situation, you think they're going to be able to get a CC immune either beads or ability off, in which case you're just sashing in and you're trying to force it, which then allows you to build up the ability to gank them next time pretty much for free. So Bogus is rotating over this way. I'm just going to give Bogus a little bit of a love tap. Don't think I probably kill him here with an ulti, so I'm not quite going to go for it. If I could get like a little ring toss off on him, actually, I might be able to. I'm going to hit him with a ring toss. Now I'm going to ulti him, because now I do believe it's going to be enough damage to kill him. So I'm going to hit him with that full ultimate. Oh, he's just at 1 HP, so I'm going to sash actually over to him. Hopefully that hits him right about as the shell is ending. And now we need to kind of run out of this battle. So one important thing to note about Neja Ultimate is you reset back to the location that you started the ultimate from. So Neja Ultimate doesn't work like a lot of other abilities where you just kind of like reset back down to the floor. Think of like Rama, where you go into the air and then you just like reset right back down from where you ultied up, right? You just kind of plop, plop. Neja has this long line-based ability for his ulti. If you use it point blank, then you're basically going to come down right where you ultied the target, because you point blank ultied them. If you use the full distance of the ulti, then when you end the ulti, it's going to reset you all the way back to where you started. So you can almost self-peel for yourself and position yourself properly just by using the ulti from a longer range. Now, of course, the reason for not doing that is the longer you use your ultimate from, the better the chance you have to miss it. And if you miss it, then you're double screwed. And it gives the enemy a longer time to react with a CC immune ability or ultimate. So there are pros and cons of using the Neja ulti at point blank compared to using it at that max distance where you're going to get the peel back. For the most part, you don't have to think too hard on it. A lot of the times the Neja ulti is just going to be like, if I hit this ulti, this person is dead. And so it doesn't really matter what the distance is from. But for that ultra high level, it might be something you want to consider, especially if you're going to like go into a tower or something. Like if I ultied the Thoth right here, right? I'd hit him in the tower and then I would ulti and I would get myself back outside of the tower. So that way I'm not just like sitting inside the tower range. But on the flip side, if I miss, then I've ultied myself into the tower range. With our pairings on Neja does extremely good against gods that do not have CC immune ultimates, because that means they have to use beads in order to counter his ult. It's the only thing that they'll have. I'm going to ulti the Anher right here. Pop my 2 for a little bit of extra damage, and their crit chance will be able to grab that kill. I'm pretty sure Bacchus actually flopped into me when he started this off, so I'm going to land my ring toss on him and then hopefully sash to finish this right on up. So gods that have CC immune ultimates, and here's a great example. My classic combination, right, is gonna be Sash into my ulti. If he sees me about to go for that, he can just start ulting right away. If he has any DR on him, that being the diminishing returns, and my Sash is going to him, and he doesn't get hit for the full stun duration because of the diminishing returns, then he can pop his ultimate before I can even get my ulti off. So he has a lot of ways to counterplay. Same thing goes for other gods like Ra. They have the ability to get that CC immunity. Now a god like Thoth is great for me to go against because I've got the ability to just sash in and ulti every single time. So every single time that I see the Thoth, I can sash in, and then all I have to worry about is his beads. And if he wants to beat my Sash in order to avoid getting hit by the ulti right after, that's fine. It's a whopping 11 seconds right now with our Jotun's Wrath. So that's going to be a massive cooldown win for us, and then I can go right on back. Now this Kali is quite low as well, so I'm actually going to go for this Blink Sash, see if I can't reach him. Not quite going to be able to get there, but maybe I can try to scare him into staying.
Your left tower is under attack.
And if he goes away, maybe we just take his blue buff right here. So for my first item in the build, we went right. Wow, what an unfortunate little situation that was. We went right into the Jotun's Wrath. I'm gonna look for the ulti on Masuki. He's actually gonna die right as I'm going into the air with him, which is kind of a funny little animation, but he's gonna go down from that. The Jotun's Wrath is gonna give us the CDR. CDR is very important on Nezha because of how strong your Sash ultimate combo is. One of the best beads burners and god burning combos in the game. And so the more we have that up, the better. Plus, Jotun's Wrath is just a crazy stat efficient item right now for any god that's ability based. 20% CDR is all well and cool, but the fact that you get 50 power on top of that, it's just gonna make your clear so much better with both the CDR and that power. So you're looking at faster jungle clear, and you're looking at more frequent ganks, and what more could you want as an ability-based jungler? It's pretty much a static item in ability-based jungler builds right now. For my third item, I'm gonna go a little bit more aggressive. You could go an item right here that's a little bit more hybrid, like a shifter shield is always a good option right now because that's going to give you a bunch of power, but it's also going to give you some nice defense. Just looking at the Suki right here, gonna hit him with my Sash. I don't really want to have to use my ultimate on him, so I'm gonna hit him with the one just to slow him down, and then the Anhur is gonna be able to pick up that kill. Felt like we were gonna be able to grab that without me going too hard on it. Gonna pop my 2 before I get to the Scorpion, so I give myself a little bit of that crit chance.
Enemy ultimate down.
And we're gonna get that Scorpion burned right on down. Fun little fact with Anhur. Anhur can actually summon his pillar, and the Scorpion can't get around the pillar. Just for a little cheesy McCheester way of tanking that and doing it a little bit earlier. And they're probably the best god in the game actually at doing those Scorpions because they do not come around the pillar. They're too thick, so they just kind of sit there for the entire pillar duration, which basically means you can just kind of solo it on Anhur even without lifesteal or anything. So for my third item, I'm going to be taking myself into a early Deathbringer. So Nezha is one of the few characters in the game that can actually get away with going Deathbringer without any crit items because it's not actually about the crit. Deathbringer increases the amount of damage that our critical strikes do by 30%. And the reason why that is relevant for us is because of our ultimate. Our ultimate, when we use it, is actually dealing critical damage in the air. And so Deathbringer is gonna make our ultimate essentially do 30% more damage on top of the actual power that it gives us, which is gonna give us on top of the scaling. But it's just gonna give us that flat 30% on our ultimate because our ultimate is in fact critting. Kali seems to be rotating herself over. So I don't want to get too greedy on this. If I can get Kali down just a little bit lower, now I'm going to go for the ultimate, and I should be able to kill her before she ever has an opportunity to get her ultimate off. Now I'm gonna pop my 2 to get that crit, use my sash to interrupt the Bacchus burp so I do not get stunned. And now I need to use my ring toss on this Thoth. Hopefully it's gonna bounce back. Oh, I'm getting body blocked like crazy. It did not actually bounce back over to the Suki, but the Suki looks like he's gonna get out of here. And I'm free to go back to my farming and heal up with my Boombas. So right there, I was waiting on using my ultimate until the Kali was a little bit lower, because if she comes down from my ultimate and she's still got HP, then she just gets her ulti off and she walks away. But if I can keep him in my air the entire time until he's at 0 HP, he never has the opportunity to. So Nezha pairs really, really, really well
Your team has destroyed a
with
middle
big
enemy tower.
follow-up characters. So Alpoosh, I wouldn't say, is a very good example of this. His 1-2 combo isn't actually bad. But really, the typical Nezha pairing is with the big wombo combo mid laners. We're talking Ra, Poseidon, Thoth, etc. Any of those characters that have that massive ultimate. I'm gonna use my ulti right here to actually just get away from this situation. Luckily, I've got that Jotun's Wrath, which has given me a little bit of extra CDR, so I've actually got more cooldown than somebody like the Suki. So his ultimate wasn't quite up yet. Now I'm gonna back up. I'm going to finish that Deathbringer, and I'm actually gonna take myself into the Shifter Shield right here, which is gonna give me that huge power, that power scaling. Once again, so good for Nezha because it's gonna stack super well with our crits on our ulti and just basically make sure that it guarantees one shot. And if we get an RNG crit from our Deathbringer, it's gonna scale really well, and we do get that 15% crit chance on our 2, which means that we have that 2 pop, we're gonna get big, thick crits. Also, our 2 is gonna give us attack speed, which is why we can get away on Nezha without actually building really any attack speed, because we have 55% built into our second ability for those 5 seconds. And believe me, nobody is going to live through 5 seconds of Nezha auto-attacking them. Either they're dead or you're dead. There's no in between. You don't need any longer than that. So typically you do want to pair that Nezha though with the big follow-up ult, because he just has one of the most clear setup abilities in the game. Pop ulti, character goes in air, character will be in air for a static amount of time. Mage on the floor goes, cool. I'm just going to use my giant ultimate and hit them the second they come down, because when the target lands from the floor on Nezha, there's still a tiny little bit of CC where they basically just have to stand there for a moment and get blasted. Although you do want to time your ultimate as a mage to be playing through most of your animation before they actually come down. Now, Nezha is also one of the best objective burners in the game. As far as assassins go, it's probably Mercury and Nezha, I would say, are the 2 best. Tried to use my ring toss there to keep my passive up. Doesn't look like we're getting a whole lot of interest over by the Gold Fury. There we go. I've got the Anther over here. But because of the crit that we're going to get, and because of the attack speed that I get from my 2, you can see that this Gold Fury just got deleted in all of 1 second. Anther started rotating over immediately, and it didn't even matter. He still got wrecked. So I'm not building any more CDR right now because our Boomba's Hammer is going to give us another 20%. So that will go ahead and cap us out on the CDR front with our Jotun's Wrath. And it's also going to give us a little bit of that percent pen, which is always nice to have. We can embrace and get more percent pen if we want to. Against this particular team, they've got a Kali solo. The only real tanky character that they're going to have is looking to be Bacchus. And if I'm priority targeting Bacchus, that's already a problem. So I'm probably not going to get any more percent pen than that. If anything, maybe I would get more flat pen or something, or even something like a Heart Seeker, just to get a bunch of raw power. So I'm going to ring toss here first, get the slow on everybody. Then I'm going to sash the Kali. I'm going to blink into this Bacchus instead of ulting, so that way I can keep my ultimate up just in case I need it a little bit later. Gonna use my ring toss to slow the Bogus and then sash him before his cooldowns come up for his flop over the wall. Now we have got ourselves a pretty healthy wave coming in towards this tower. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop my 2, give myself that bonus attack speed, start beating on this tower. Obviously the crit is not gonna matter against the tower, but the extra 55% attack speed is gonna help me burn this down quite fast. And I'm actually gonna stick around even after those creeps die and just finish the tower and get that gold for my team. Now my goal here is gonna be to get level 20. I'm about 19 and a half. So if I can get that level 20, I can back up, finish the Boombas before my shifter shield. And we're just gonna be that much more difficult to reckon with. So, Boombas acquired, gonna work on the shifter shield here. And I might actually go into this game a Hydras. I've already embraced the Deathbringer crit. I don't mind overcapping CDR a little bit. Because there's also a good chance that in the ultra late stages of the game, I sell the Jotun's Wrath anyway. Jotun's Wrath is an item that you very frequently sell late game if the game goes that long. A game probably has to go like 30 plus minutes for you to sell it. But there's so much CDR and Smite right now, especially because almost every build is going to have a Boombas Hammer in it for at least the jungle and the mid lane for that matter. So that means you've already got 20% CDR. But you do want to always get that Jotun's early because it gives you so much damage. You can see how fast I've been leveling just because I've got my ring toss up all the time and stuff. So there's nothing wrong with overcapping CDR by a little bit in the mid stage of the game, especially once you got that Boombas finish, because there's a lot of good items that have like 10% CDR in them, like Erendite and Hydras and all these things that you may want to get, and then eventually you just sell the Jotun's Wrath later, and that's not a big deal. Looking over here towards the Suki, see if I can't force the beads. I do. Going to use my ring toss on these creeps just to get myself a little bit of extra movement speed, try to get myself out of the range of the Suki too. And then I'm gonna go right back into the fight. So you can see a lot of these times, if I don't know if somebody's beads is up or down, I'm just gonna sash right into him. So I'm gonna go for the Thoth right here, not quite gonna be able to land on him. Gonna go for the ring toss, not gonna get that either. Now I know that Anher's ulti and beads are down. So I'm looking right at him. I actually don't need to ulti him at all though. But that was a target that I could just go for the raw ulti on because I knew all of his ability cooldowns that were up and down from the earlier fight that we had had in our side of the jungle. Now I'm just gonna use my 1 and my 2 to proc those Boombas just to heal up a little bit. Thoth is back there on his own, so I'm actually gonna go for a 2 and then a little blink ulti here. Not gonna quite land it, but I do force the Thoth to dash in panic because he thought I was gonna hit it, and we'll grab that kill anyway. So right there, I didn't know if the Thoth had his beads up or not. Gonna CC this Kali so that way she cannot get her ultimate off. Didn't know if he had his beads up, so I didn't want to go for the sash and risk him being able to get away. So instead I go for the little bit greedier, a little bit riskier
It's your turn to die.
blink ultimate play. Didn't actually end up hitting the blink ulti, but it did make him panic enough to where we got the kill anyway. So we're not going to be able to get the Phoenix anymore at this point, but I am going to call for the Fire Giant. Going to kill some creeps while we're waiting. Try to keep that passive stacked up as much as we can. Hopefully Ganesh hit that right before me. He did. Half of our team still isn't approaching the Fire Giant, so I'm going to call for it again. I'm going to pop my 2 here for a little bit of sustain and try to get some damage on this bad boy. Even without the mana, still going to be able to burn the Fire Giant extremely fast. Not to mention we have a Ganesh with us as well, who is also a very, very good Fire Giant burner. Pooch wanted us to wait because he had 8 seconds left on his respawn timer, but honestly, it was a decent chance that the Fire Giant killed me while we were waiting, so we got to finish that up anyway. So my job in these fights is going to be to find the target in the back line that is the most problematic, that is doing the most damage, and take them out of the game. So right now in this game, my main target is probably going to be Anher. He is level 20. He is big and thick right now. And so he's one of my priority targets. You know what? Instead of getting the Hydras right now, I'm just gonna take myself into a Malice, actually. Show you kind of another way to take this. A Hydras would also work here as well. But instead, if I go to a 6 item, I'll actually sell my Jotuns for the Hydras. Malice is another really good item on Nezha. This helps you embrace the crit a little bit more. So your autos crit a little bit more consistently. And it also is gonna give you reduced cooldowns when you get that critical strike on your abilities. Now this is interesting on Nezha because when you combine the minus cooldown from your Malice plus the minus cooldown on your Boombas, if it procs perfectly, you're basically gonna have a couple of abilities with no cooldowns. Like I might basically sash somebody, crit them with the Boombas proc, and then sash might be up in like 1 more second. Like you can get it very, very fast. So it's always a good item to keep in mind on Nezha. Another thing that you can do, this isn't probably super relevant in this setting, but another way to utilize Nezha ultimate, here's just a fun little historical fact. Nezha ulti really has 2 major purposes. The one that most people use it for is just taking the scariest target into the air and trying to kill them immediately when they come down. But another way that Nezha ulti was used for many, many years in the FPL, and probably still is to this day, is actually to ulti out the shot caller of the enemy team. So if you know that their jungler is their shot caller, even if they're not the main damage dealer, oftentimes you would see Nezhas go for the shot caller, bring them into the air so they lose their shot caller for about 5 seconds in the team fight, and try to win the team fight that way. So I'm gonna have my Sash ready to go on top of my Alpooch because I see that he is getting ulted by the Suki. Gonna move over to this mid Phoenix. We've got the Oni creeps pushing down every single lane. And I'm gonna look for myself a quick ulti on a target. So I'm gonna go for this Anner, hit him with the Sash. He's probably gonna beat, so I'm not gonna follow up with the ulti immediately. Now I can look myself at the pockets. I have to try to use right there my Sash as an immunity frame. So I can see that the Thoth ult is coming for me. Right now it looks like Kali is kind of running at me as well, so I've got to be a little bit careful using my 2 for sustain, but we should be able to get in on this one, pop my beats preemptively, and be able to finish this. So right there I used the immunity frame on my Sash, so you don't take any damage while you're in the actual animation of the Sash. I see that the Thoth is about to ulti me, so I quickly whip around and use that Sash, so the Thoth ulti kind of goes right through me and doesn't actually do any damage, just to make sure that I live at the end there, guys. Like I said, for our last couple of items, we have Hydras on the list as always possible. Think about the implications of having the Deathbringer crits on the Nezha. You sash in, thus proccing your Boombas and proccing your Hydras. You follow up immediately with an auto attack. You might not even need to follow up with the ulti because you could very easily crit them for somewhere near 1,000 damage plus. And then you also have items like Bloodforge that help you get more power, as well as the shields afterwards to help keep you alive, and a Mantle of Discord, always a wonderful item on the Assassins if you feel like you need a defensive item if you're getting focused, guys. And that is our Nezha Jungle Guide. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.